you. Mr. Craig. Yeah, you ready? Okay, cool. Take a break, man. Look who's here. Hey, my dear.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how are you
Doing well. How you
doing?
feeling?
Oh, good, 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 good. I see you. Hey, my dear. Got your website. Hey, my dear.
This on. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the 6th annual gathering for the Black Arts Festival of Cathedral Village. We are glad you are here. I've heard from some of our commuters that there are 2 big accidents along the roads, one on Germantown and one on exit 84, on 84. So we expect more people along the way. We have our wonderful Cathedral Village bus that will pick people up at the entrance down there and bring them up if they would rather do that than to walk. Be careful what you pray for. We all prayed for sunshine, but not this warm. So those of you who are roasting, just know that within about an hour and a half it's going to cool down. So don't worry about it. And relax, enjoy yourselves, and I know it's going to be a wonderful afternoon. I would like to say that a couple of housekeeping matters. Number 1 has to do with wearing your masks, which I see most of you doing. We do have masks on the table where you entered this afternoon. So if you don't have a mask, you can pick one up at the table where you paid your $50. Secondly, let me say the Persians have a great philosophy. When they make those Persian rugs, they always make them in such a way that they are not perfect. And their philosophy is that only Allah is perfect. So therefore, whatever you get in the way of a Persian rug, it's not perfect. I would say ditto for that in terms of this wonderful outdoor jazz fest that we are sponsoring from Cathedral Village here to you, for you here today. We're not perfect, but we've done our best to make this as fine an occasion as possible. This is our first rodeo, having an outdoor jazz fest. And we're delighted that you're here, and we know others will be along the way. But in terms of, disappointments, we had planned to have a Porto Pato over here, whatever you call them, whatever it is, you know what I'm talking about. It didn't show up, so we apologize, but we do have people with badges on who can take you to Cathedral Village and point you to one of the washrooms for that purpose. I'd like to, others will be speaking also in a few minutes, but I'd like to point out this wonderful Black Arts Festival book, which you have in your hands. The committee, Libby Brown, Karen Faulkner, others did extremely well on putting this together. It's first-rate, downtown kind of things, and they're wonderful articles or essays for you to read on jazz, on folk music, a poem by our in-house jazz man, and other great information about the things which follow this jazz event. There are 5 days of black art taking place here at Cathedral Village. So please be sure to come back if you're from off campus, and if your neighbors would like to come, they would be more than welcome. I'd like to say that we also, thinking of you, we have fresh water at the back there in that blue container and ice down, so please go back and help yourself to a bottle of water. We have a sort of an outdoor gallery and an indoor gallery. And the outdoor gallery is to my right. Mr. Gilbert Fletcher is showing some of his artwork, and he has some of his cards to sell there. Others will be coming in from the community to set up their work over at this outdoor gallery. There is an inside gallery, if you want to see it, both in terms of the articles that people bring from people of our community have brought back from trips around the world, Africa and the Caribbean. It's a great exhibit there. And on the second floor, we have 3 black artists, women, who are showing their work. This is our first time to honor 3 black women artists who are showing their work in our second floor gallery. So know that that's available. I would be remiss if I didn't remind you there are 4 waste trash containers around the side here. So let's use them for our bottles and our trash and our napkins or whatever you have that needs to be in those containers rather than leaving them on the floor where you are. I'm going to take this time to say thank you again for coming. And I have a few little words I want to sing to you from my old jazz background. And Kenny's going to try to get me the right tea. If it doesn't work out, you'll understand. But it's one that I love, and I think it's just very appropriate for the occasion. It's the second way of saying hello. Get your coat and get your hat. Leave your Corvette on the doorstep. Just direct your feet on the sunny, sunny side of the street. Used to walk in the shade with those blues on parade. But I'm not afraid. This rover crossover. If I never had a cent, I'd be as rich as Oprah Winfrey. Gold dust at my feet at the Cathedral Village Jazz Suite. At the Cathedral Village Jazz Suite. Say it again, all of you. At the Cathedral Village Jazz Suite. Ha-ha. Gold dust at my feet. Cathedral Village Jazz Suite. Thank you very much. As time goes on, you will meet all of these distinguished people who will be on the stage. But right now, I'm going to call upon the chairman of the Black Arts Festival for Cathedral Village, our one and only Dennis Brunn, who has been a masterful chairman and taken us through this whole process about 8 months ago. He is talented, he's gifted, he keeps everybody in place, and he's brought a great deal of pizzazz and know-how and ways of cooperating and to bring something like this off, not just today, but the 5 days that will continue with the Black Arts Festival. Our chairman, Dennis Brunn. Dennis.
Bob didn't tell me what I was supposed to sing, but why are we here today? Why are we here? And the shortest answer is, some years ago, roughly 5 or so years ago, Bob Polk shared a vision, and the vision was that every year we would celebrate in various ways the creativity of the African American community. And many of us here have followed that vision and to make it a reality. So, Bob, we thank you for your vision and your leadership. All right. Now, we've had two very clear and simple purposes by doing this each year. The one is to continue to educate ourselves, the residents of Cathedral Village, about the history, about the struggle, and the creative aspects of African American history, and to create a deeper understanding and stronger commitment to see change. The second has been, we want to continue to send a positive, welcoming message to the African American community in general, to visit Cathedral Village, to check out our resources, our own interesting activities, and to just keep us in mind. We've heard that nobody escapes getting older, and maybe this might be something you want to check out. There's so many people to thank. I'm not going to thank them by name. They're in our booklet. But I will say, if the members of the Black Arts Planning Committee are here, if they would just stand or wave their hands. We've got quite a few here. All right. And I would like the Cathedral Village administrators, which include our executive director, Charles Gergis, to stand, and we have other administrators here, Kim Latanzio, Rebecca Hitchens. I know we have others, including Chris Henry. So people have been very, very, very helpful to make this happen. We have to thank them. A special thanks goes also to a PSL, a Presbyterian senior living staffer who couldn't be here, Jennifer Hartman. She went out and beat the bushes and raised significant money to make this year's expanded effort possible. Okay. We are very lucky to have here some of our of the artists who are being exhibited upstairs, and artists who are not exhibiting but are part of the festival in many ways. So over at the table on the left is Mr. Gilbert Fletcher, who is the longtime supporter and advocate for our festival, and he's the designer of the cover. So if you want to know who did that, he's right over there. Next to him is Miss Dressler Smith, and she is one of the artists exhibited upstairs today. So we want to thank you for coming, Dressler and Gilbert. So please, as Bob said, visit the art exhibits inside as well as outside. The exhibit of, we call the showcase of artifacts and artwork is not open until 2. But it's open then, in the Leamy room inside the Cathedral Village, and people will show you how to get there. Last but not least, we did not expect 6 months ago that we would be dealing with the COVID virus at this threatening level today in October. We were hoping that we could have 100 people easily in our auditorium when we're talking about the events on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sadly, we are much more limited. So if you have not signed up ahead of time, it's very likely that if you arrive, they'll say, sorry, the seats are full, but they will hand to you directions how to get to our website, where much of what is happening today, Monday through Wednesday, will be available within a week. So you won't miss out totally. So enjoy the festival. If you're new to Cathedral Village, welcome, and come back and visit again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dennis. You've been a wonderful chairman, and you've inspired all of us to do the kinds of things that helped us to bring this together. I'm going to next introduce my co-chairman of the Jazz Fest out here, but he's also our in-house jazz man, and he has a lot to offer. We go to him for almost everything. He's knowledgeable. I like to call him the Renaissance man. Please say hello and welcome to Jim Cochran. Jim.
I want to introduce to you this afternoon our friend and esteemed neighbor, Father Peter Carey. And St. Mary's is right over here behind you. And the campus behind you and the drive all belongs to St. Mary's. So we're very happy that they're our neighbors, and he is with us. Father Carey.
How are you, man? So I did not talk to Bob before this, but I have a little quote from a Sufi mystic, Persian mystic, in just a moment. So, but we thought we'd kick this off with an invocation. Creator God of beauty and lovely diversity, you bless us with the gifts of artistry, creativity, and imagination. Bless this Black Arts Festival, all those in attendance, the artists, the planners, the visionaries, the committee members, the administrators, and all those who worked to make this happen. We thank you for their dedicated work. Allow us to enjoy and celebrate the gifts of artistry and creativity over these next days. Let us be inspired by the 800-year-old words of the Sufi poet Rumi as we enjoy the beauty of these gifted artists. Today, like any other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. And I hope we all have a wonderful time. And thank you so much for letting me be a part of the beginning. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you very much, Father Carey. It's nice to have you here, and those are great words that you use. They always say, be careful what you pray for. Well, we've been praying for the last 6 months that October 2nd would be a day of beauty and sunshine, and we'd have no rain. But little did we realize it was going to be this hot. So you have to bear with us, and thank God for the sunshine, the beautiful clouds, and like jazz music itself, this is a flexible audience and a flexible time to be together. So if you want to move around where there's shade or change your seat or be with someone that you know particularly well, just feel free to do so. We don't expect you to sit in one seat from now until 5 o'clock. So enjoy yourselves and know that we are so glad to have you here. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our first MC, a lady that I met years ago through a friend of mine. Let me preface this by saying, when the Black Arts Committee decided they would honor black artists this year, whom we have both outdoors and in the gallery, I thought, well, since I'm in charge of the Jazz Fest, I'd like to have 2 black women as our MCs for this occasion. So we'll have black women in 2 different places. And so I remember so well, a few years ago, when my friend Ernestine Carter took me to a jazz occasion at the home of the person that we'll introduce in a minute. I was really blown away because I hadn't been to an outdoor residential jazz festival since the days of Jackie Robinson, and you know how long that's been. And he used to have them every year up in Stamford, Connecticut. People would take their trips on the train to be at Jackie Robinson's outdoor jazz fest. And what a time we had on those occasions. And so when my friend took me to our MC's home for a jazz occasion, I was really taken aback because it's the first time that I've been to one in a long time. And there she had put this great thing together, maybe with a few people, but certainly not a committee. And there on her beautiful property, there was a swimming pool. Around the swimming pool, there was grass like we're sitting on now. There were tables and chairs and umbrellas. And then there was a stage for the jazz musicians to play. There were rooms for beverage and ample amount of excellent food. And this was all done by our MC number 1 for today's program. Her name is Eleanor Jean Hindley. Now, I'm not from Philadelphia, so I did not know this wonderful woman until I met her through her jazz event a few years ago. She has it every year, every summer. And so when I asked her to send me a bio or even just a paragraph with which I could use to introduce her, she never did. So now she's sending me a message that I'm not quite sure about. So I finally got wise and went online, and I saw this long bio of this beautiful, dignified woman who has done an awful lot in the city of Philadelphia, first working 25 years ago at CBS TV 3, a number of positions there, breaking the glass ceiling that black people, especially black women, had not broken. And she also founded a group of young girls that she has been in charge of now for a number of years. The organization is called, what's it called, Ernestine? Yeah. Anyway, she will tell you when she comes to the mic, but they are located, a national chapter in 3 states, and 8,000 young African-American or young girls of color have gone through her program. All have matriculated through high school and are in college or have graduated from college. And I think this is the kind of person who gives back what she has received to the community that we so much enjoy in Philadelphia. And so most of our people that we will be hearing from today are of like-minded, are like-minded. They give back what they have received. And so I'm going to ask her to come forward and greet you, to tell you about her work. I hope that someday that the Arts and Reviews Committee, if they still have one at Cathedral Village, might invite her up to talk about the work that she does with these young ladies throughout the 3 states in which they are organized. And also to tell you and introduce you to our first band. Eleanor, would you please come forward, and we thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here. Wherever there's jazz, that's where I want to be. And to have found out that I would be introducing a group of men that I know. I mean, I know Kenny and Richard Hill, two just exceptional musicians. Michael, the drummer, I'm just meeting him for the first time. Michael Monte, all right. DeMonte, Michael DeMonte. Tell you that you are absolutely in for a very special treat as soon as you hear their performance. I always tell people that jazz was the first music I heard in the crib, Dexter Gordon's horn. My father was a jazz fan, and so that's where my love of music developed. And I've stayed very active in the jazz community throughout my time in the Philadelphia area. I had a show that aired on Channel 3 television for 10 years. It was called City Lights, and it aired on Saturday nights at 7 o'clock. Thank you. Few people remember. Okay. Must be some baby boomers. Hello, I'm one. And so I was very fortunate to have had the opportunity to really provide exposure to the jazz community in the Philadelphia area. A lot of the musicians who are currently active still were guests on the show at some point during their careers. I'm also on the board of the Philadelphia Clef Club of Jazz and Performing Arts, and that has also been a pleasure looking at jazz from another perspective in terms of the administration of it. And as you probably know, a lot of the performance arts venues are struggling now. And they have been especially hard hit because of COVID. Right now, the Clef Club, in fact, is closed. It's under renovations, and these renovations were really kind of underway before COVID hit. But because of COVID, as you can well imagine, a lot of the work has been slowed down. So we're not quite sure yet when we're going to physically open. Have the opportunity to come out to venues like this and out in the park and other places to support the music, please do so. And jazz, we always say, is the cultural, it's Black America's classical music. And you heard Bob certainly has a very proud history in the music as well. He wanted me to tell you a little bit about the Clef Club, and I had pulled something up on my cell phone, but you can go to the website and read that if you're interested in knowing more. But please support the Clef Club and all of these other performance venues, because one of the things that I have always admired about jazz musicians, and I've read a lot about the history, and a lot of them are among my closest friends, is that jazz musicians play for the love of the music. They play for the love of the music. And I've always said, and I know this from experience, that people don't necessarily go into jazz to become rich like a lot of pop stars do, and you have a record and all of a sudden you're a multimillionaire and doing all kinds of things. But jazz, I've found, and I know that Kenny will to this, jazz is the most difficult form of music to play. Am I right, Kenny? Oh, yeah. And I thought about it because I'm also a forever jazz piano student, but more importantly, I did grow up playing piano, and I went to college as a classical pianist, but obviously didn't stay in the field, and ultimately I went into broadcasting. But jazz is its own language. Children grow up, they learn classical music, and Kenny, now correct me if I'm wrong, but it's easy to play classical music because all the notes are written. The notes are written there. But when you're learning to play jazz, there is no safety net. There is no safety net. And so when I hear people like Kenny and Richard Hill and and some of the other great musicians that you're going to hear today, it is a skill and it is a talent and it's hard. It is really hard. You know, the discipline, yes, and that's what it was. And I've always said that, you know, I have the talent but not the discipline. And the discipline is really what it's all about. It's its own language. So when you hear these musicians play, just the artistry of it is just absolutely incredible. So I'm an advocate for jazz for sure. I encourage you to support the music wherever you can. There are certainly a lot of different ways that you can do that. Coming here is one. And I think with that, I'm going to step aside and let you enjoy the music from some of Philadelphia's finest jazz musicians. And it is the Kenny Gates Trio. Kenny, take it away.